Hello YouTube, hello Bleach fans, this is the Observer and this is the Bleach 535 chapter review, Everything But Rain part 8. But before I do that, some of you might have noticed that I haven't reviewed the past week's chapter. It's not that I thought the chapter was bad or something like that, it was just that I was very sick previous week. And when I got fine and had time to do it, I decided to not review chapter but actually to give it a small review before this one. And that's not all. Actually, before I actually intended to this week have Bleach special that I was about to do, but because I was sick and I didn't have much time to do it, it's pushed back further. It will be probably next week, not this one. Next week I'll do it. It will be about Cold Moon. I think you all know what's going to be, but it's going to be something about Cold Moon, the next Bleach special. So Bleach 534, Everything But Rain Part 7. The most important thing in that previous chapter is actually Ryukin. The Ryukin is to me a very interesting character because he is in Bleach ever since the beginning. I mean, he was mentioned, but he was first introduced in Tell Your Children the Truth. That's, I don't know which chapter, but he was always there. But we don't know nothing much about Ryukin. Actually, nothing much we don't know about Ryukin. We don't know what sort of character he is. We know that he was very cold-hearted because the way he's interacting with his son, with Uru. But in Fullbringer arc we have seen that he actually cares a lot about Uru, only he doesn't express it with words. You know, there is one excellent thing I liked in it's not Fullbringer manga, but in Fullbringer anime arc, when Ryukin sort of come to a room where Uryu is being healed and treated, and leave on his door a sign, "No child knows how dear he is to his parent." Well, and that's something I really liked. That sentence and the way that Ryukin have, done that. So Ryukin is one of those characters we don't know much about. And when actually this Everything But Rain arc started, I actually thought that Ryukin doesn't have much feelings for Masaki. I actually thought, well, he likes her only because she's a Quincy and, full-blood Quincy. And in previous chapter, when that Hollow White was defeated, when he just left Masaki with that Shinigami, which is Ishin, I thought even that, Ryukin doesn't care much about Masaki. He is like, if she wants to die, let her die, But it's not that. With this chapter we actually seen that Ryukin does care a lot about Masaki. I mean, really a lot. And it was so good that he was prepared to attack Katagiri because she said, a bit she was wounded in combat. That he was prepared to lie to his mother about Masaki. He is prepared to run away with her, even though she might pose a threat to him. He probably didn't know what was happening to her, and she probably would be a threat to Ryukin if she completely hollow-fied and sort of. But it's so much interesting that I cannot figure out Ryukin's character. I cannot figure out, is he really an emotional fella like he was in previous chapter? Is he cold-hearted like he was in the previous chapters? Does he care about the Quincy's? Does he care about Masaki? Does he care about his father, his mother? It's so strange to me that I cannot figure out. I mean, we have Ishin on the other side, who we know, he's pretty straightforward guy, I will protect, I will serve, I will be a good guy. But Ryukin is strange on so many levels. I don't even know, does he really like Ishin? I mean, in previous Bleach chapters, when they are friends and everything. I don't know, does he really like him? I don't know why didn't he join the battle in Kura against Aizen and sort of. But what's the most greatest thing in the previous chapter is that he recalled that he didn't actually stop Masaki when she went to fights with that Hollow, that he didn't interfere in combat, that he didn't join her, and it seemed to me that he actually is a coward. Yes, that he, but not covered in a, not covered that he is prepared to run away against any cost, but I just believe that he is inexperienced in combat and that he's afraid of combat and he's afraid of getting wounded and hurted. And maybe that is the reason why he didn't fight against Aizen. And it could have been that, well, that's a Shinigami battle. It has nothing to do with coincidence with me, sort of. But I believe more that he's very afraid, and that actually is quite questioning regarding his strength. If he's so afraid of combat, he probably haven't seen much of combat, and it's questionable how strong he is. So so many things are left untold regarding Ryuken. And my greatest fear regarding the Quincy's, Ryuken, Uryu, Ishida's family, everything, is that it will leave pretty much everything untold. And you know, I quite expect a lot more story from Everything But Rain. And I have a feeling sort of the next Everything But Rain will be the last, if not the one before the last chapter. And I'm so afraid that we won't learn a lot about, you know, Ishida family, about who is Uryu's mother, even though I still believe it's Kotagiri and everything. So that was the greatest point of the previous chapter. I thought it was more giving in depth about who Ryuken is and what Ryuken is. In this chapter this week, I mean Bleach 535, we actually, this is the similar chapter to the previous one, where, you know, Urahara have met both Ishin and Ryuken and told him to follow him, that he will save Masaki. This, you know, chapter is pretty much informative chapter. There is no reason for me to retell anything about this. The entire chapter is that is Urahara explaining to Ishin and explaining to Ryuken what will happen to Masaki and how to save Masaki, and you know, all that happened is pretty much that, and that in the end Ishin accepted to be, you know, to strip off his entire Shinigami power to protect Masaki, and that's pretty much how it ends. And as I said, this was pretty much an informative chapter. The greatest minus of this chapter is it actually informed us about stuff we already know. But the most, I don't know if I didn't know this, if you guys already know about this, but to create an injection that you need to, you know, stop the soul suicide, you need Quincy Arrow. So does it mean that Urahara already knew about Quincy's in this town, that Quincy's are alive and everything? So that's pretty much interesting. And is that the way how he actually saved Vizards? We haven't seen actually how he saved Vizards. We all know that he stopped the holification process, but that he didn't at that time, at the turn back the pendulum, that he didn't know a way to actually, you know, save them back to Shinigamis. But we know in, you know, previous Bleach chapters, episodes, that Vizards are pretty much okay. They're Shinigamis with, you know, hollow powers. They're Vizards. So that's interesting. Did he used some sort of Shinigami, you know, power, shells or something like that to, you know, save Vizards? That's interesting, and it will be really cool if it's explained in further chapters. There are many things that I'm, like with Kubo, he likes to, you know, prolong his mystery is extremely far. You know, just look at the Grimjaw mystery, who killed, you know, Oppi, Kirgi Oppi. I mean, we still, even though it's, you know, 90% Grimjaw, we still don't know, it still hasn't been stated, you know, that Grimjaw killed Kirgi Oppi. But, you know, he likes to prolong his mystery very long. And there's a lot of things actually that I strongly believe will remain untold, and mostly about Ishin himself. Well, we know Ishin is a Shiba, we all know that. But why did Shibas, you know, dissolve? Why did Shiba fall from grace? They fall from grace and not anymore regarded as the royal family. You know, why? Why? No, not royal, but noble family. When did, you know, Ishin use final Getsuga Tensho? because we know in Days Side Dark that Ishin said, well, I used it once, it was same like me when I was trying to approach my blade. So when did he use it? I mean, that's ultra powerful technique. He had to, had to use it sometimes. And now he will lose his powers, and, he will probably won't be using it in any further, further everything but the rain arc. So many things are left, untold, which is really strange. Really strange. So this was really medium chapter in everything. Even though it was good that Urahara explained to us what soul suicide is, what it actually takes to Masaki to, not become Quincy again, I guess, but ordinary human. What it takes, and it was so awesome to see, because Ryuken doesn't know Ishin, and he doesn't know what this Shinigami might do. He might just now turn back and say, fuck this is not my... Stop. He might just say that this is not my, battle, that I will not sacrifice anymore for this girl. And when Urahara was explaining that you need something far more powerful to return her from the other side, from the hollow side to the humans, that you need actually, something powerful, pulling her back. He was thinking that he is the one who is supposed to do that, and he will lose everything. And he was so, afraid, and he was like, shaking in fear, like, what am I supposed to do? What will I do? And when Urahara said, well, it's not about you. It's about actually Ishin. What will he do? Because you cannot do nothing now. He was also shaking himself, well, thinking, well, who knows what this Shinigami will do. And of course, in a comical sense, Ishin was like, well, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's just finish this. Let me save my savior. And his words to Urahara regarding the Masaki as his savior is like, how can I, continue living, continue being Shinigami if I'm not able to protect and save the one who protected me, to protect my savior, and if I'm not able to protect, my savior. And this is the reflection directly opposite from the Ryuken, who, could have protected in much easier way Masaki, but was afraid to. And this Shinigami, who is not even slightly related to her, is prepared to give everything for her. That's completely an opposite, I believe the Ryuken needs to learn, even though I believe Ryuken is far smarter, keener, and everything else character. He has a lot to learn from Ishin, especially about, protecting the one you love and preparing to give everything for her. And that's so interesting the way that, Ishin has done it, especially the last page when Ishin was like, grabbing Masaki from the hollow, from the inner hollow, and like, your white knight has approached Madame. And there is a lot of Ryuken to really learn from Ishin, and it's quite obvious to me that if someone is prepared to give up so much for Masaki, that that he is a right guy for her. I wouldn't interfere in any relationship that was supposed to happen between those two of them. It's obviously to me, and Ryuken will probably after this be like, if both of you are now humans, Masaki won't be Quincy anymore, and Ishin won't be Shinigami anymore, and he will probably be just, well, you two are perfect for each other, go, and you should be. But what will happen afterwards? I'm thinking, now, after all this happened, Ryuken is supposed to return to Ishi dimension. What will he say? Well, Masaki has turned human and Shinigami has turned human, now they're living freely, I don't believe that will happen. I strongly believe if Ryuken tells the truth to, her mother, her father, the only reasonable solution would be to kill Ishin and Masaki, because Masaki knows too much about Quincy's, Masaki knows too much about holy training, even though maybe she knows about Van der Reich, we don't know. So the logical step would be to actually eliminate Masaki and Ishin, but so the only thing that the Ryuken can say that won't cause trouble would be, that Masaki died in process, or Masaki turned hollow and he he killed her or something like that. So it will be highly interesting to see what will Ryukin say when he returns to mansion. Maybe we'll see then who is, you know, Uryu's mother and everything else. So that's pretty much it. That's something which I mostly expect to see. The other interesting thing is how will this be regarding to Ichigo's birth? You know, how will all this create Ichigo? I mean, as I remember, Ishin always mentioned that he lost his power 20 years ago. So this is that day, 20 years ago. You know, Ichigo is 18 years old or 19 years old, as I remember. So Ichigo won't be born right away, but actually in a year or two after this. So I actually thought that this will lead to the creation of Ichigo, but I'm wrong actually. I'm very, very wrong regarding that. So it will actually mean why actually is Ichigo so special, and if Ichigo is so special, then also mean that Karin and Yuzu are also very special. I mean, they're both, unless they're born differently. We don't know. We still don't know that. But if they're born similar to Ichigo, I mean, just with normal birth, they are all special. They also could be Quincy Shinigami hybrids. And it's such a shame that Kubo isn't developing more, you know, Yuzu and Karin, especially in the and Urahara was like, you know, everything you need, everything you need, I will help you, no matter what you need, no matter what you want. So it would be interesting if, you know, somehow some sort of training or some bigger purpose Yuzu and Karin get. So that's the things I would like to see in further of this arc. But what I'm afraid of, I believe strongly this arc will be lasting for 2 more chapters. I strongly believe that 2 more chapters will be this arc and it will all end. And there is not enough time to, you know, answer us all these mysteries, all these questions I have, and that's really shameful. I don't know. I strongly wish that this arc was longer with more explaining. Even though this one, previous chapter and previous before that chapters are going really slow and the pacing is really, really slow, but yet this is the, you know, informative, and it's something we wait for a long time to see. So it is somewhere on the medium, this chapter, but it was actually informative and it gives hope for some great things to happen in the future. So, you know, we wait for the next chapter. I hope you liked this chapter, my chapter review. I will like, before the next chapter review, that I will do that Bleach special, The Cold Moon. It's a working title. I still haven't thought about the title, but its working title is Cold Moon. It's gonna be something special. It will have the first, you know, first third will be something I'll create, you'll see, and next 2/3 of the chapter will be me, you know, reviving old chapters and reviving the certain character and certain characters surrounding that character and what they think and what they expect from him. So wait for that, and thank you for watching this. I hope I'll see you next week.